All right, you're welcome. You're welcome. So it's great having us. We can do what to drop a message on the chat with your name and your location. Can do what to drop a message on the chat with your name and your location. My name is uh my name is Gary Akbos, and I'm your moderator for today. Please do what to drop in your name and location on the chat so we know where you're connecting from. This is a very important and timely meeting. Okay, how to avoid real estate scam in Nigeria. The truth is, in today's Nigeria, it's no news that there have been so many cases regarding real estate fraud. Okay, we've had so many persons sharing all kinds of story. In fact, currently there's one trending, and you see people talk about how they bought properties 5 years ago, 6 years ago, some even as far back as 10 years ago, and there's been one issue or the other. Okay. Uh, all right, you're welcome, Mr. Babalola. You're welcome all the way from Kogi State. Mr. HK from Canada, you're welcome. Okay. As you come in, please do what to drop in your name and your location. Now, the truth is, with today's Nigeria, you would agree with me that everybody really need to understand what they're doing when it comes to real estate investment, because if you're not paying attention, if you're just throwing money around, you obviously have people willing to cash this money through fraudulent means. Okay, and we've all seen situations where people got into real estate deals and it ended up very bad. I remember when I was in secondary school, my classmate came to school one day and he was like, uh, okay, he didn't come to school. So after like 2 3 days, he came to school and he was like, they had an issue in their family. Okay, the elder brother, they woke up one morning and they saw people in their gate, people at their gates with trucks telling them to evacuate the house. And the father was surprised, like a house that is yours, and somebody is telling you to leave. Like, what's going on? And he said the house has been sold. Okay, doing all their findings, they realized that the eldest son sold the father's house, while the father and the rest member of the family were still in the house. Okay, so we've seen people with situations like that, and at the end of the day, when the whole case went to court and everything, the buyer was the one who lost out. Okay, and of course, it's almost impossible to get back that money from the boy who sold it. Okay, so we've seen so many cases of people buying into properties, and at the end of the day, there's one drama or the other, there's one story or the other. Okay, and as an organization and as people of passion, okay, we've decided to take today out to be a day where we can get to educate people, we can get to enlighten people more on the various steps. Now, what are your expectations for today's meeting? Number one is you get to understand different title documents, which is one thing most people don't even know. A lot of people have invested in real estate today and they know little or nothing about this. Okay, and this is one thing we'll be doing today. You'll get to know about title documents. Number two is you'll get to learn about zoning regulations. You'll get to learn about uh, what document you're expected to get when you invest in real estate. And then you also get to learn about uh, the difference between, you get to learn about the difference between the deed of assignment and the power of attorney, which is a serious debate right now. You'll get to learn a whole lot about so much. Okay, so today is a day to sit down and pay attention, and also allocation processes. Okay, a lot of people invest in real estate and they don't even get allocated. It's becoming a norm nowadays that people buy property and they don't get allocated after a long period of time. Okay, so that would also be addressed today. So sit, relax, and in the next uh, in the next 1 minute, we shall be going forward to having this discussion. Okay, so If you come in, please do well to drop in your name and your location. All right. So if you're just joining us, please do well to drop in your name and your location. My name is Gary Akbos, and today we're talking about how to avoid scam in real estate. So many persons have lost a lot of money. Okay, I've seen people. If in fact the stories are endless, if you start going through it, and I believe one way or the other, we all know people who have lost money while trying to invest in Nigeria, both those in Nigeria and those outside. Okay, so you will learn a whole lot today. And just relax. Within the next couple of minutes, we shall be done with this meeting. But the most important thing is pay attention. I know it's easily to get distracted nowadays. You can be on Zoom and be on Facebook and be on WhatsApp, but just this is something that has to do with your finance and your financial future. So it's great you pay full attention to what we're doing here. All right. So taking us on today's powerful event, because anybody can come and just talk, but it's great to listen to people who have the result to show for it. Okay, people who have been able to guide others, lead others into making smart and informed real estate decisions in their lives and in their investment life and all. Okay, so taking us today is someone who has about 10 years experience in real estate, who has been able within this period of time guide a lot of persons into achieving massive success when it comes to real estate. Okay, and this is no other but Mr. Favour Arazu. Mr. Favour, over to you. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gary. I want to first of all thank all of us that could make our time to be here amidst our busy schedule. It's something I appreciate a lot. I know at the end of the day, you'll be the ultimate beneficiary of this, whatever we're going to be sharing in today's section. My name is Mr. Favour Arazu. Real estate is something that I saw myself into. It's not something that why I was growing up I said I wanted to do. It's something that I just found myself doing it. And like someone that I'm a commitment person. So anything I'm getting myself involved, I try to, be the best. I try to learn all that there is in it. I started my real estate journey since 2014. That's almost over a decade now. When I left school, funny enough is that I did banking and finance. My plan in life was to end up climbing the corporate level and being one of the top, executive in the banking industry. But fortunately, I found myself in this industry. So let's get at it. So today, I'll try my best to explain in details some of the things that you need to know, which are very critical because I believe, so I'm trying to share my slide, because I believe that for you as an investor, there are two major things you should be looking out for. Okay, I've done these things for 10 years now, and I have my record. I've been able to create a business. I'm an investor myself, and I've been able to play in this field in such a way that I understand how it goes, So two things every single investor should be looking out for when it comes to real estate business. Number one, or real estate investment. Number one is security of capital. Security of capital, because as we used to say in Nigerian vernacular, money wey slow come, no suppose quick go. Now, real estate is booming currently. There's a lot of things that's making real estate to garnering the level of attention is garnering even in the international space. One of them is the fact that Nigeria will be predicted to become the third largest black nation in the world by 2050. Currently, we have a population rate of over 200 million persons, and numbers are key when it comes to real estate. Numbers are very important because what that means is this: there's going to be serious demand. There's already serious demand of properties, building, accommodations, and the rest of it. Then secondly is the fact that we are currently experiencing increased rate of urbanization, which makes a lot of sense because now if you're buying a property and putting out for rent, the experience so far for those in Abuja will agree with me now. The experience so far is that when you are seeing a property out for rent within split of maybe maximum 2 days is off the market. And this is not, and this and involving the fact that rent now is on a high. Hello, can you hear me? Please, if you are in a noisy place, you can mute yourself. If you're in a noisy place, you can mute yourself. Okay. So, and this is only the fact that rent now is on top of the roof, but yet people are paying. Two things: there's increased demand, there's increased urbanization. Very important. So, if you're looking at investing in real estate currently, right now in Nigeria, I will say this is the best time. But before you can make that financial commitment, you need to first of all commit yourself to understanding how the market plays, understand how the business work. Very, very important. And this is why we're putting this thing together, to first of all to identify some of the risks, the underlying risk in real estate transactions, then offer possible solutions. Some of things we're going to say are practical. It's not something that's on the book. In short, as a matter of fact, I'm going to be saying some things that may sound a bit controversial, that challenge the status quo. But then again, if you have been in this game for 10 years, you agree with me that it is a practice. You know, it's not just, it's something that it's when you put it on ground, it's something that works. So I would like to encourage us to give the best attention, pay attention, avoid every distraction, especially if you're looking at maybe investing now or maybe later, whichever way. Some of the things I'm going to be saying, as long as the Land Use Act of 1978 is still relevant, all right, it's still in use, some of the things I'm going to be sharing with you will still be relevant maybe in the next 10 years or the next 20 years. So it's like helping you to compress a decade of experience, all right? So all right, so I'll kickstart here. So now, why are we doing this? Why did I decide to put this together? Um, um, I had a horrible experience many years ago, about a decade ago. You know, more than a decade now. Yeah, far more than, exactly, almost 15 plus years right now. You know, so it was something that almost destroyed my family. And it's something that whenever I remember it, first of all, I thank God for it. I thank God for the fact that we were able to overcome that situation, that challenge, you know. But then again, it's something that everyone should pay attention to. And that's one of the inspiration behind this idea of sensitizing people, giving out this knowledge for free to let people understand the things they need to look out for when it has to do with real estate investment. So an uncle of mine at that time, I was staying in Europe, you know, so someone that just went there working, making money and everything. At some point, he felt like this is now time to start, preparing for my retirement, have a retirement plan. And then decided to state, okay, let's start investing in real estate. Let me start buying more properties and everything. So at that time, he had an elder brother who was staying in Lagos at that time, doing business also. So he started sending him money to be buying property for him and everything. So along the line, something happened, maybe about a year or two or thereabouts. This my other uncle that is living in Lagos at that time. His business that is experiencing some challenges. So he now did something. He now used this my other uncle property as a collateral for a loan to revive his business. Okay, with the in view that in the process of time, when the business bounces back, he can prepay back the loan and retrieve back the property. But unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. He ended up, okay, sorry, the lender, rather, the person that it collected the money from, the loan from, now used the property, as now mortgage the property as, to take back his money, take back his money. After a while, the castle burst. Everyone got to know about it, and it became a very serious issue because this guy had been in Europe, working hard, putting out money. Every single pounds, is it euro now, that he makes, he send it back home to make sure that something is put on ground, not knowing that nothing, at the end of the day, the property, all his hard work, right? All the money I've raised through his hard work to get that property has already been, there was already a story on it. Let me tell you something. It took 10 painful years. Now, when I say the word 10 painful years, if you look behind, I look as though it was simple, but it was very rigorous. Every single year, there were court cases. of course, for the fact that, of course, the family tide was already at the point of breaking, because, one thing about family issues is that when it involves two brothers, it will not only be those two brothers will be involved, any other person will be involved. People start taking side and everything. Before you know it, there's a breaking point. Everybody just, the whole thing just breaks. So, but thank God that after the whole, period, at the end of the day, the brother was regained, but then he had to make another payment for it. So this thing is something that sometimes is personal. It's something that goes beyond the money. It's also about relationship, because at the end of the day, only God, if not for the intervention of God, maybe the relationship must have sour and every other thing. So on this note, I taking what I'm doing today is personal to me, and it's something I'm passionate about, to be able to, from what I know, from my experience so far, to be able to educate investors out there on the best practice when it comes to real estate transaction, because it's very critical. So I'm going to be sharing on maybe 3 or 4 basic things. So just follow me through. And meanwhile, if you can hear me, I would like you to just go on the chat box and type I can hear you. If you can hear me, kindly go on the chat box and type I can hear you, okay? If you can hear me, I want to see you type I can hear you, I can hear. Let me know that I'm communicating. All right. Okay, who is the first to type? I want to see that I can hear you. Mr. GK said I can hear you. Great. Mr. Gary, I can hear you. Who else again? All right, I want, okay, blessing, I can hear you. Thank you. Okay, that's fine. So now, first of all, when you want to make an investment, you have been encouraged to carry out your due diligence. They say, do your due diligence. But then again, you need to know how to be able to carry out this due diligence, what is obtainable, what to expect, and the solutions to some of the challenges embedded, the risk embedded in this process. So I'm going to be sharing 4 major due diligence you should focus on when it comes to real estate transaction, especially if you're looking out for areas like maybe the city of Abuja, or it's very city of Abuja, city of Abuja. And there's a reason for that, because Abuja is not, some of the things that are obtainable in other states is a bit different here, and there's a reason for it, because of course it's the capital city. Now, the Land Use Act of 1978 says that every land within the territory of a state is owned by the state government. All right. Okay, so now the first process is title verification. Now, when it comes to title verification, one of the things it helps you to identify is, number one, you get to understand the history behind the property or behind the land, depending on which one you're going for. Be able to know, because sometimes you're buying a land and you're not buying directly from the original allottee. Okay, maybe buying from, maybe the land or the property must have moved from one hand to the other before it gets to you. So when you are doing title verification, it helps you to understand the originality or the history surrounding the property, surrounding the land. That's one thing it helps you to understand. Then the second thing is that now when you are doing title verification, right, it helps you to know whether this title is it real or fake. Because the truth is this, a original document can be cloned. There's what called cloned documents. Okay, and this is why this first process of your due diligence is highly important. That is why I put it as number 1. It's very important, because you need to be able to observe, or rather discover these 2 things. Know the origin, the person you're buying from, what ties him or her to the property, what ties him or her to the land. Just doing a title verification, be able to observe. And the good thing about this thing, especially those that if you're investing in your state, or you're investing in Abuja or Anambra, at least these 3 states, as for now, has been able to make the whole process, the verification process, seamless. For those in Abuja, because of the automated system that is now in place, which is Abuja Geographical Information System, right? Verification process should not take you anything more than 24 hours. And it's something you can do from anywhere in the world. The most important is basically online. You can go on the remitter, make your payment, go to bank, fill in the details, go to bank, make payment. Then you can now take it to the AG's office with the original document, and they will cite it and send to you. Let me even show you what it should look like if you are doing what you will get. Just 1 minute. Okay, so this is what it will look like. This is what it will look like. So now, if you're that's this for those, if you're doing a verification in Abuja, right? You can get a screenshot of this. They can send a screenshot of this if you're not on ground, right? Maybe on WhatsApp or your email, any of it. So from this, now you'll be able to know that the current, or rather the original allotee, right, is ABS Investment and Properties Development. Okay, you'll be able to know the file number, be able to know the district, here the district charity, be able to know the date of allocation. The date of allocation when the RFO was issued was 29th of May 2025. So it was not recently. So it's just this is the way it looks. Okay, this is the way it looks. So let me go back to my slide. Okay. So that's it for title verification. Then the next thing is survey plan. Now, the good thing about survey plan is, of course, it's not something that is mostly talked about, but survey plan will help you to reveal that what's the task, the district, the location on the title is speaking to what is on ground. Now, when you want to buy a property, it's good to know that sometimes a particular title, rather property that they are showing you may not be speaking to a particular title. Because now let's assume you are buying a property in Maitama. There are many lands in Maitama, but the title you have, which particular land is it speaking for? This is where the service of a surveyor is highly needed, because it will be able to help you to identify that, okay, to be able to rather check, to confirm that the title you have at hand is speaking to the land that you are being discussed about, you are being told about, or you're about to pay for. Okay, and it's very, very important. I'm not going to dwell much here. Let me go to the third one, which is zoning and land use check. Now, this is very important. For the past 2 years, there have been few demolitions that has happened in Abuja, and 80% of this demolition was because the zoning regulations was not followed. So I brought out a section in this discussion where I'm going to spend more time to talk about it because of its importance. Then the last one on this list is community and physical inspection. So of course, you need to understand, you need to see the place for yourself. Now, the good thing about it that with the advent of technology, right, inspection can be done virtually. Maybe you're not on ground, but then again, in carrying out a virtual inspection, okay, the inspection will be done in such a way that you can be able to see things for yourself. Every details about the land should be shown to you or should be exposed to you, because there's reason why physical inspection is important or visual inspection is important, because is the one of the reasons is that you can be able to appreciate the type of land it is. Is it a flat land? Is it a mountainous land? The land, is it close to a swampy area? So many things you can see for. Is it close to the road? How many meters away from the road? Or how many meters close to the road? You'll be able to know some certain things based on the fact that you're on ground to see them for yourself, or any other distance. So it's very, 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 very important. So I've talked about title verification, right? Which I told you that is very seamless. As a matter of fact, there are people in there's some work personnel in some of these department, land department, that can actually help you to get it. They'll get it right, tell the truth about the truth about the reality of the land you're about to buy. I talked about the survey plan. Now, survey plan helps you to be able to marry what is on paper with what is on ground. The document you have that they are showing you as a document to that land, is it true or not? And of course, there are many other things that survey plan will reveal to you. Then the third is zoning and land use regulations, which I'm going to speak more later in this section. Then of course I talked about physical inspection. Now, so this is where it gets even serious and it gets a bit deep. Now, understand the different land titles in Nigeria and their implications. I know that if I ask anybody now, okay, so what is a common land title in Nigeria? I believe the most common answer I'm going to get is C of O. Okay, I believe so. But then again, people don't know that C of if we have 100 hectares in the whole of Nigeria, only less than 10% of them is titled C of O. Okay. But then again, that's not even the reason why. But then, so now there are different land titles within the purview of the Land Use Act of 1978. There are different land titles. Okay. But I'm going to just be taking it bit by bit. Now, you know that before the introduction of the new policy, the new land policy, which was that's the Land Use Act of 1978, there was a practice in play. There was a way of allocation, a system in play. There was a method in play. Okay, at that time, allocation was done more in a communal way, where the community or the community chief, does the allocates to family members or allocates to individuals. Okay. Now, in as much as here we are long past that era, but then again, sometimes some people, people are slow adopter to new trends. So I've discovered that, especially here in Abuja, some persons still buy this type of land that is called community land. There's a land that is called community land. And why they call it community land is that the allocation is usually done by the chief. But this type of land is not accommodated in the law. In other words, buying into this land is a risk on its own. I won't advise you to buy this type of land, especially if you have a long-term perspective to your investment, because at the end of the day, government can wake up tomorrow and decide to come and demolish the place, and they have no reason to compensate you because already you are violating. Is an illegal structure, is an illegal encroachment. Okay, so but if you must buy this type of land, then it should be for a short-term purpose. As a matter of fact, you should just know that, okay, I'm willing to lose this money. Okay, it's more like a risk. It's not that it's more like a risk. It's a risk on its own. So because you can buy it thinking that, okay, maybe let me use it for 2 years, and maybe by then, after then, government can come and do their thing and everything, and government may wake up tomorrow and say, oh, we are coming to this location, we are coming to Kabusa, we are coming to that location, something like that. So it's not advisable to buy this kind of land. It's cheaper. It's the cheapest form of land. Of course, that's why it is not sustainable. The title is not strong. All right. But let's now enter into the type of categories of land that are recognized by the law. Okay. So we have 2 categories of land that are recognized by the law. We have the area council land, and also we have the FCDA land. Now, of course, Nigeria operates 3 arms of government, which is the local government, the state government, and the federal government. Now, in this same way, each of those governments are equipped with some allocation rights or responsibilities, so they can allocate some certain lands or certain locations. Okay, so the area, the local government can allocate lands, especially in the rural areas, while the state government can allocate lands, okay, within the urban area and the rest of it. Of course, the federal government is the highest body; they have the highest authority, so they can equally have their own allocation rights. So now, the area council land are lands that are usually allocated by the area council. Now, there are 2 major challenges to this type of land. If you are buying it, you have to put this in the back of your mind. Now, 2 or more persons can own a particular land. That means it has a challenge of multiple ownership. And the reason is this: the area council allocation process have not been automated. So sometimes someone can be allocated a certain portion of land in a certain location, right? And it will not be properly documented. So after some years or tomorrow, another person will still come, and the same land will be allocated to that same person. So at the end of the day, you will find out that 2 or more persons are laying claim to the same land. And sometimes it may not be intentional, but just because of the process that's in place. And this is one of the fundamental challenges that area council have already posed. So at the end of the day, found out that 1 out of 10 area council land may be correct, 1 out of 10, and that's a very minimal distance. So it's not something that someone can risk. And recently, there's been a major challenge that now even the federal government are now reallocating this type of lands. Because like I said, the federal government is the highest authority, so they can decide to reallocate an area council land. Okay, so it has been a very major trend currently, and especially those that lives in Abuja. There's been a major trend now. So at the end of the day, that you are not only battling with the fact that there can be more than one person owning your own property, but you're also facing the risk that tomorrow federal government can decide, okay, oh, want to do this project, want to do this thing, and may end up reallocating that land. Okay. Now, what is the solution? So in the process of time, the government now decided to do something. Now said, okay, now this area council's allocations, right? Let's bring a process of regularization. Let's bring a process whereby it can be regularized and be captured in our database. Okay. So the moment someone can prove that he has ownership to this land and be able to carry the regularization process, he would have defeated the risk of a reallocation by the federal government. But then again, this solution now does not eradicate the challenge of multiple ownership, because if I have my paper and you have your paper and Mr. C has his or her paper, his paper rather, we can both be regularized. Okay, so at the end of the day, the primary challenge, which is multiple ownership, have not fully been resolved. But of course, some of the traditional ways that some developers or some persons use to this is the fact that we can all come together, collaborate, and maybe settle outside the court, or just settle and everything. So that's one of the traditional solutions to some of these issues that I've seen in practice, that have happened in the market, that have happened. So then the next one, which is the highest level of title in Nigeria, the highest level of title is the FCDA. Now in Abuja, we call it FCDA. That's Federal Capital Development Authority. Federal Capital Development Authority. Now, this category of land comes in three types, okay? It can come as letter of intent. It can come as FCDR of O. It can come as, of course, FCDC of O. Okay, now, these are allocations that's being done by the federal government themselves. Now, for example, now, the administrative head of Abuja is actually a minister. He acts on behalf of the president. So this allocation is assumed that it's being done by the president himself, okay? Because it's a federal allocation. So it's more authentic, it's more sustainable, and of course, you have a long-term perspective to investment. We encourage you to go for this type of land. Yes, it's a bit pricey, but then again, if you look at this of the value proposition on the long term, is more profitable, highly profitable even. Because at the end of the day, if you're investing in real estate, even if you are looking at the angle of, I just want to buy a place, I'll build and live, but you're also looking at an asset that tomorrow you can transfer it to your next generation, So so at the end of the day, it's very key that you consider this type of land, very key. As a matter of fact, it's highly important, because if you look at even the price difference, it's not really that much to compare the value, the return on investment. Okay, so now, please, while I'm talking, if you have any question, you can write it down so that you don't forget. I'm going to have a question and answer segment, but so far, if you have been able to get value, I would like you to go on the chat box and type value, 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 value. If you have been able to learn one or two from what I've discussed so far, just go on the type box and type value, 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 okay? All right. If you're able to learn one or two, just type value, value. Meanwhile, I will be waiting on the question segment to get your questions. All right. So let's go to the zoning regulations now, which is very, very important. Very, very important. I was telling a story of how, they say, well, the major one that happened, I think is around Guzape or so, here in Abuja last year, that a very prominent person went and built, I think it was a residential building. I think it was a residential building. It was online. He went and built a structure on a place that was mapped out for parks and gardens, and this structure maybe the structure had been existing for like more than 5 years until the minister came in. Now, like every other state, there's always a master plan in place, that shows what should be built at every place. So it happened that one day the minister was passing by and he saw that structure. He now called the director of land administration and was like, okay, you will need to see the layout of that place. So when he saw the layout of that place, he now discovered that place, that structure was existing, was actually meant for recreational park. and garden. So it now made a further confirmation. The result of those confirmation was that later on, that building was brought down without any prior notice. And this, anybody that knows Guzapi know that Guzapi is not a small place. The building there, I can tell you that the owner of that building spent billions to put it together. But because he couldn't follow through this zoning regulation, he was able to lost something that can term as a fortune in a single day. It made the news. It was very popular. But then again, you couldn't sue the government because the government they were right. You were wrong. I want to quickly. There are five or more than five actually, zoning land use purpose or purpose of allocation. Now, a land can be allocated to you for the purpose of residential. A land can be allocated to you for the purpose of commercial. A land can be used for industrial. A land can be used for agricultural. A land can be used for recreational park or green area. Now, I'm going to show us, but when I'm done, I'm going to show us how to identify what a land is being meant for, because it's very important. Now, the truth is this: identify this thing is very easy because it's so important. Government made it easy that you can actually know without even a help from any professional. But sometimes I wonder why people don't just want to do the right thing, because at the end of the day, not doing the right thing will cost you a fortune. Okay, so now there are many reasons why a particular location can be mapped out for something. One of the reasons is soil structure or soil texture. Not every place is suitable for high density structure. Now, that's heavy structure. Now, we have high density, we have medium density, and we have low density. Medium densities are areas that, of course, that can take some certain level of structure, not heavy duty and yet not low duty. Then we have high density. High density are areas that you are allowed to build skyscrapers, high rising, and all of it. Now, and the reason is this: is they measure based on the soil structure. Some soil are not capable for high building. So if you go and build in a place you're supposed to be maybe a bungalow, and go ahead and build a high rising, it may pose a serious threat in the future of collapsing. Okay, so these are the things that the urban and regional planning put into perspective before identifying the use of a place. Okay, of course, there are other reasons. It can be it can be as a result of strategic reasons. Okay, because of positioning and everything. But then again, it's good that if a place is mapped out for residential, it's good that you follow it. If it is mapped out for commercial, it's good that you follow it. Okay, so let me show us something on how you can actually identify this thing, just to show you that it's very, very easy. Sometimes I wonder why these are just some of the things I'm sharing with us today are very, very easy, very simple. That have been there all this while, just that maybe nobody brought it to our notice. Okay, now this is a FCD allocation. Okay, now assuming that you want to buy a plot in this place, and you want to confirm that the use, the land use. Is it meant for residential? Is it meant for commercial? It's very simple. Now you go to the document, right? Now, if you look, I'm going to zoom a bit. Okay, I think you can see it. Please, if you can see my screen, just let me know. I just type, I can see it. Now I'm going to zoom a bit. Now, so I'm looking at it. You see the Roman numeric 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the number 4 speaks of purpose. Now, if you look at the purpose, just against it, you see residential, private housing estate. Now, if you're buying a land for the purpose of building to live in, this is the type of place you should go. This is the type of document you should go. It's because it's in line. Why some others, if it's for commercial, that same place you saw residential, what you see there is commercial. Okay. Then there's another one that is called mixed use. Now, mixed use means that this place, a percentage of it can be used for residential, and another percentage can be used for commercial. That's what mixed use means. Okay, so it's important that we be able to get this thing right. This thing have cost a lot of people billions of naira. There's another story. The other one that happened when someone went to build a plaza, a very mighty plaza on a green zone, and at the end of the day, it was brought down. And tomorrow people will be crying at government this, government that, government this. In as much as yes, we know that there are many things that are not working out well here, but then again, there are also some certain areas that government are right, following the law and everything. And we are being expected to be able to follow through some of these things. We're being expected to be able to, identify these things before making any financial commitment is very important. Okay. So now I don't know so far if I've been able to deliver value, if you're able to learn one or two. If you're able to learn one or two, just let me know. I don't know if I'm a bit, if I'm rushing, if I'm a bit fast. Okay. I just want us to be able to learn one or two. We're going to have a question segment where you're allowed to ask your question. The whole idea of all this is just to help us to gain a good understanding of what it is. The truth is this: if you are rightly equipped with knowledge, you can be able to ask the right question. Even if you're not in what's called investing in Abuja, any other state you're investing, you're looking at whether in your village or any other place. But with the understanding of these things, you can be able to ask the person you're buying from, okay, is this thing in place? Is that in place? And then they will know that he's an intelligent investor, that you know what you're doing. All right. So we're going to be talking about the last one, the post-purchase process. Now, so far, what I've some of the things I've been able to discuss about has to do with things you need to do before making payments. Has to do with the things you need to do before making payments. Now, what I'm about to say now is something you need to do after payment is done. Now, understand this. But making a payment for a land does not guarantee ownership. As a matter of fact, you buy a land and you end up being given only receipt. Receipt in real estate transaction is not a proof of ownership. Receipt is important, don't get me wrong. Of course, you make a payment for something, you should be able to get a receipt for it. But when it comes to real estate transaction, receipt does not confer ownership. Now, the post-purchase phase in real estate is where ownership transitions from a paper agreement to a fully recognized legal right. It's also the point where the buyer begins to interact with the property in a practical sense, whether to build, resell, or hold as an investment. Okay. Now, so I'm going to be sharing. There are 5 levels of post-purchase process you should pay attention to in all your real estate transaction. Whether you're buying in the northern part of Nigeria, whether you're buying the eastern part, whether you're buying the western part, this thing remains constant. It's something you must, look out for. Number 1 is this: for every payment you make, get a receipt. Now, I've already said that receipt does not confer ownership, but then again, receipt shows that a transaction, or rather payment, moved from the account of party A to the account of party B, which is also important. Okay, get a receipt. Also get a letter of acknowledgement. If I'm paying a property of 10 million naira and I make a deposit of 2 million naira, I should be able to get a letter of acknowledgement confirming that a 2 million naira deposit was received from social account to this social account. I should be able to get a receipt that is well stamped, okay, of that same amount. Very important. For every payment you make, make sure you get a receipt. Make sure you get a receipt, at least for your own documentation and record keeping. Okay. Now, then secondly is contract of sale. Now, contract of sale is a legal document that captures all the terms and conditions of a transaction. Okay. It captures all the details of a transaction, from the amount paid to the size of the land to the name and the witness of the parties to the transaction, every single thing, and is legally binding. Now, of course, it does not equally shows transfer of ownership, but then it goes a lot deeper than just a receipt. It shows it, first of all, is tenable in a court of law. Okay, very important. Of course, it's been prepared by a legal person. It may come, of course, you may be charged a fee, maybe processing fee and everything, but it's highly important that you do this to show a proof. It proves that you made a payment for this land. Okay, it proves that it shows that you made a payment for this land. I know that sometimes, some people may overlook it, but then again, if you have the wherewithal, because the processing fee may not cost so much, but it's important you get all these things in your disposal. Then the third is deed of assignment. Now, what is a deed of assignment? Now, a deed of assignment is actually a legal document recognized even by the Constitution of Nigeria and recognized by the Land Use Act to confer ownership from party A to party B, that's from the assignor to the assignee. Okay, it is a document that confers ownership. When you're buying a property, now let me say something quickly. Now, I showed you a document, an allocation document, that's a title, the allocation title document earlier on. Now, when you're buying a property, you are not given that, you cannot be given that type of document, because it's an allocation, that document shows a direct allocation from the government. Okay, but when it involves a third-party transaction, what proofs? How do I put it? I think I should show us. Okay, no need because of time. I wanted to show us a sample of a deed. A deed of assignment shows, first of all, the history. It captures the history of the property, how it moves from the first allottee to the other person, to probably to the person you are buying from, and also captures many things about the property. So, and is something that can be registered in any land department in Nigeria. If, let's say, you are buying from Lagos, you can register it in Lagos State Land Registry. If you are buying in Anambra State, you can register it in Anambra State Land Registry. It can be registered. And with a deed of assignment, you can perfect your title. You can even, as a matter of fact, you can use with a deed of assignment, you can move it from being just a deed of assignment to getting your own individual C of O. This is how important it is. Now, I started hearing something lately that, as a matter of fact, one of my friends called me from the US about, I think 2 weeks ago, and he bought a property here in Abuja, and he was asking me, which one should he go for? Should he go for a deed of assignment, or should he go for power of attorney? Okay. And I can ask him a common, in my mind, rather, I was thinking, why would you go for power of attorney? As a matter of fact, you shouldn't even be asking that question in the first place. How can you be telling me you bought a land that, from someone, and the person wants to transfer the ownership of that land to you, and you're asking me, should you go for deed of assignment or should you go for power of attorney? The thing is this: these two documents do not speak to the same thing, are not used in the same circumstance. A deed of assignment is used when I want to transfer my ownership of a property to you based on agreement and terms and everything, right? While a power of attorney is used when I'm holding a property on behalf of somebody. Okay, or let's say I'm buying a property, but I don't want to declare my identity, so I will now raise a power of attorney to say I'm allowing so person to hold this property in my stead, pending when I'm willing to exercise my rights. So if you're buying a property from me now, and I'm issuing you a power of attorney, what I'm literally telling you is that I'm giving you this property to hold for me. So at the end of the day, you don't have any tangible right on that property if what I could offer you is power of attorney. Very, very important. I've seen a lot of real estate organizations that gives power of attorney as a means of transfer of ownership. It makes no sense. What I'm telling you now is so common. You can even fact check it on Google or ask ChatGPT. Power of attorney, when you're buying a property and you're being given power of attorney, I can tell you that in the future, if the person wants to revoke revoke that land or collect back the land from you, the law will support the person. And this is why some of these meetings are very important, because here you learn certain things. These things are not, spoken in the public space. It's not freely spoken about. Because, and for me, that's why when people buy property from me, I don't bother giving them power of attorney. There's no use. I only give you power of attorney if you're saying, oh, I'm buying this property for my child, and my child is 12 years old. Okay, and so you need to raise a power of attorney, because in Nigeria law, you are not allowed to own a property until you are 18 years of age. Okay, so the only place where power of attorney becomes needed is, and it must be followed with the deed of assignment also. Okay, so the only place it's being needed is if I'm buying a property on behalf of an underaged person, I can raise a power of attorney, and that power of attorney to state that this person is the true owner of this property. Meanwhile, I'm holding it on his behalf, pending when it comes of age. Okay, so it's so important. What transfers title? What transfers title is deed of assignment and not power of attorney. I will say it again. When it comes to property transaction, if you are only giving power of attorney, tomorrow your property can either be reallocated or even be claimed. And I can tell you that you can go even to the Supreme Court. As much as you cannot provide the assignment, you have no claim. So this is very important, very, very important. I just believe that we're able to learn one or two things. Then the second, this fourth on the post-purchase process is fiscal allocation. Now, when you buy, if I buy a property now and you say it's my own, okay, the next thing I should expect you to do is to take me to where it is and tell me, okay, from this boundary to this boundary is your portion. So you can now begin to develop or probably want to resell. If that's your whatever thing you want to do, they can go ahead and do whatever you want to do there. Okay. But in a situation whereby, because there have been, there's something that happened, I don't know if it was last 2 months, where people started coming online saying, oh, I bought a property in so place and this is the 5th year of that purchase and I've not been allocated. Such stories raise a lot of red flags. It means that maybe there's some things that's happened that maybe the person you bought the property from or the company you bought the property from is not telling you. Okay, if you buy a property and you are done with payment and complete all the terms and conditions of the transaction, maximum maybe 3 months, 6 months, worst case scenario 1 year, you should be able to get a fiscal allocation. Now, I understand that there's some reason maybe some things that may happen, some circumstances that may arise that may delay the process of fiscal allocation. As a developer here, I know one of them is delay of site layout. But like I said, maximum is 1 year. A government cannot delay site layout more than even 3 months. By the time you start getting to 8 months, 9 months, 1 year, or must start asking serious questions. You have to start asking serious questions. It means that there's some certain things that probably that is under play that you are not being, communicated to. So fiscal allocation should not be more than 1 year. Yeah, by the time you start getting to 5 years, all those 5 years, 10 years, you will know that it's a scam. You don't need to start studying or maybe get a prophet to tell you that some things have gone wrong. So first of all, acknowledgement and receipt, get your acknowledgement and receipts, contract of sale second, deed of assignment third, fiscal allocation. Then the last one now, this last one is very important, it's very key. As a matter of fact, this is where from the story I told from the beginning, this is where my uncle got it wrong. Sometimes you have to understand, the Bible says something, said, lead us not into temptation. So the same way that we should not fall into temptation, that same way you should not lead others into temptation. For example, now you may buy property from me, right? And at the end of the day, you decided to keep the documentation with me based on trust. Now, I may not be a dubious, I may not naturally be a dubious person. I may not have an ulterior motive to your land. I'm well contented. I don't have issue. But then again, circumstances may arise. For example, this is my uncle. I've known him since when I was small, growing up. He's the calmest, is the most generous, like is somebody that is short. Among all my mother's siblings, he doesn't have issue. But then again, circumstances can change. People can change temporarily just in face of certain pressure or circumstances. So it may not be that the person maybe has element of distrust or the person is a wicked person, but just that he had an issue that he's trying to solve and thinking that he can play smart with the whole thing. You understand? Then again, there's also another class of people that they are naturally dubious. So once you commit a certain thing to them, the next they are thinking how to either bring it down, destroy it, or convert it to their own. So there is no need for you to buy a property that you have done everything and hand over the documentation to another person or even keep it with the company you bought it from. There's no need. I have some friends that bought property from me maybe 2 years ago. Their documents are still with me. I know they do it based on trust, but then again, it's not advisable. What if tomorrow now, maybe I had a fire outbreak and the whole, maybe my, God forbid anyway, but my house got burned down and everything, or maybe where I kept the document got burned, fire breaking and,
take everything out, burn everything to ashes. In that case, you understand? So there's no need for you to hand something that is precious to you, hand it over to another person where you can actually have it, where you can actually, have still be able to handle it yourself. Now, I know the reason why sometimes, especially for those of us that live outside the country, so that you buy a property, you are looking at, okay, how do I be able to get the document and everything? So I don't know, you found out, okay, let me call this family member that I trust so much. Let me call this my friend that is a pastor, or that it looks like he's a Christian and everything. Let me hand over the document. At least by the time I'm back, I should be able to collect it. The truth is this: times and seasons have changed. Technology has made everything easy. Technology have changed the game for us. Technology have made our life better. Now, all these documents I mentioned, you can actually save them in your cloud. You can actually save them on Google Drive. You can actually save them on Dropbox. There are several other online storage platforms you can actually utilize, and you'll be the only person that have access to them. Okay, sometimes people buy property from us, and maybe I may not be in town, and there will be need for me to sign the over. I do that online. I don't need to be physically on ground. That's the reason why PDF scanner is there. That's the why some of these platforms, apps are there. Okay, makes everything easy. Then let's assume that, okay, you have challenge with maybe saving your documents in cloud. You can equally go to a bank and put in a bank vault. Just be paying with a monthly fee or annual fee, which is nothing to compare to what you have to lose. Because the thing is this: when we talk about the issue of scam, you have to understand that what you are losing is not just the amount that was paid for. What you're also losing is the future value of that amount. Because if you had gotten it right, let's say you bought a property of 10 million, there are chances that this same property in the next 10 years can amount to 100 million. So if you look at it critically from financial standpoint, you're not actually losing 10 million. What you are losing is 100 million. You see? So that's why we need to get it right. We need to follow this process as, get it right. Okay. So when it comes to documentation and safekeeping, you look at either you put it on a bank vault. As a matter of fact, one of my clients that bought a property from us last 2 weeks. She's saying that I'm in the US, we bill it. You can use DHL. So what am I trying to say? Make sure that all your documents, you have access to them personally. You have access to it personally. You may think it's not necessary until after 10 years. You bought a land for 2 million naira. After 10 years, you're selling 200 million naira. You're not looking for the document everywhere. I don't know if you get. I had a story of a man that bought about 20 Bitcoin, or was it 50 Bitcoin, many, many years ago. As at the time Bitcoin hit 60,000, if you times $60,000 with 20 Bitcoin, that's a whole lot of money. That's like a life-changing money. But he couldn't retrieve it because he has lost access to where he kept it. The same thing happens in real estate. So your documentation is your right to that property. So safeguard it. Safeguard it well. Safeguard it properly. Because if you lose it, you have lost claim to that property. Even if there's a second chance, the process will still come and cost you financially. Okay, I'm going to stop here. And of course, I just believe that we got value, and I'm going to be taking questions from now. Now, Paraventure, let's say, Paraventure, you want to maybe you want to ask further questions, or you need further maybe consultations and everything. We'll be more than happy to help you out. If you're looking at getting further information as regards to real estate transaction and how the whole stuff works here, we'll be more than happy to help you. You can come over to our office at number 5 Jamaica Close Automatic Car Wash, Gariki 2, or you can as well send us an email or give us a call. For those who are looking out for consultation or maybe guidance on how to buy real estate here in Nigeria, our lines are open Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday. Okay, we're dedicating those days to be able to help you out. Right, yes. So I think I should take question at this point. Please, I would like to hear your questions. If you have any question, kindly drop it. You can unmute yourself and speak anyway.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah. Yes, good evening.
The Favour.
Oh, my
name is Love.
Yes, thank you so much, ma, for joining us. Go ahead and ask a question, ma.
It's not a question. It's just to appreciate the work you're doing. And I'm so glad the way you've gone and the tenacity. Even when I say I don't have money, you keep pressing. I believe God will help me one day to be able to get it. And the aspect of the self-keep, I know it's good to put in the cloud, Google Drive, even in the bank. But there must be one or two person that in your life you should be able to let them know. Because if peradventure you keep all those things in those places and no one is opportune to know, if anything happen, death, no one can tell when. If no one knows about it, it's gone. The bank will not come and tell you. Even the club cannot, no one will even have an idea to say they are going there to retrieve. So even when we put them for safekeep in those places, at least either children or one person, God will surely let that person not to be able to disappoint by letting it loose or whatever. Do you understand? So
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
just the way me I feel. Because there are so many people that have died and their money is in the bank. They can't get a dime. Even one person that even will get to the bank to go and lay claims for it, they will even dupe you there in the bank. So this world is really, most especially our country, is really not a safe place. But God will help us. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Madam Law, for that contribution. So this is what I would advise. This is what I would advise. So of course, even when you're opening an account with a bank, they will give you an option to write what is to call, is it beneficiary now, or I think your next of kin or something like that. Yeah, next of kin details and everything. The same way in power of attorney. Sorry, in deed of assignment, I beg your pardon. There also a place you are allowed to put the details of your next of kin. Okay. I also believe that process also works in the bank. If you are depositing a document, a land document, there will also be a place they will allow you to put your next of kin, maybe your wife, your children, or your husband, or your brother, or your sister, anything, as the case may be. Okay. Now, there's some technology now that even allows you. There's a technology now that even allows you to that you can have a third party signatory. Okay, there's some technology that like that. That again, of course, is that by the time you start building your portfolio and it start getting big, as a matter of fact, by the time you even start your real estate portfolio, the next thing you should also have in place is a will. You should have a place in a will. You should also be updating. You should also have a legal person that handles your transactions. So the person updating your legal person on your acquisition, so that of course you're updating your will on with it, or probably just for informational purpose, which is very important, so that in a situation like this, okay, it can be able to say, okay, this and this and that and this is where your assets are, and be able to apportion them according to your will and everything. But I get your concern, very, very valid, and thank you so much for that huge input. All right. So do we still have any other person that wants to say something or have a question?